Hello, welcome to my channel, Retirement After a Heart Transplant. If you're new here, my name is Alan. I thank you for stopping by. Today I wanted to talk a little bit about organ donation. In fact, I titled this episode, Are You an Organ Donor? I'd like to talk a little bit about that. There are a lot of misconceptions about becoming an organ donor. Just various information I'd like to give you about that in a short video. I'll start by saying when I first realized I had to have a heart transplant, which was in 2011, I was not an organ donor. The reason, it was not because I had any objections to being an organ donor. I just honestly never really thought about it. And I guess nobody ever talked with me about it enough to, say, go do it. I would have done it in a moment. I just didn't think about it. By the way, my two daughters are both organ donors, and I think it's more of a thing now, and has been probably for a couple of decades at least, maybe longer, to just automatically say, yes, I'll be an organ donor when you go get your driver's license, which is one of the ways you can easily become an organ donor. I'll talk about that more when I end up. But I was not. I am now. I immediately, of course, signed up to become an organ donor when I realized that I needed a heart. Just a little information about organ donation. There are currently over 100,000 people in the United States. I'm not talking globally. I didn't look up global numbers, but currently over 100,000 people on transplant waiting lists for organs. Kidneys, hearts, and livers are the most common transplanted organs. There are others, lungs, but regardless, those are the most common ones. And roughly 13 people die each and every day on the waiting list, waiting for an organ donor. The reason there just simply are not enough organ donors out there. So that's what happens. Becoming a organ donor has a life-saving impact. One donor can save up to 8 lives, by virtue of the fact that various organs from the donor can be given to those who are on organ waiting lists. Up to 75 lives can be improved in some way from one organ donor. So that would include not only the major organs that can be transplanted, but tissue donation, also eyes, eye transplant, corneas. The list is relatively long, and I'm not going to try to go into that. But the point being is, if you become an organ donor and your organs are needed at some point, quite a few people can be helped, and that's a really good thing. Some nations have discussed, I think it's even been discussed in the United States, they've discussed, in fact, some nations may already do this. I didn't look it up, so forgive me for not having complete information. But I believe in a couple of nations around the world, you have to opt out not to be an organ donor. In other words, you are automatically an organ donor unless you opt out. You raise your hand, you sign a form, and say, "Nope, I don't want to do that." That's been discussed in the United States. It would be a state-by-state thing, obviously, here, since we are a constitutional republic, and not that many federal laws impact all states. I believe that would probably be a state-by-state decision. Don't hold me to that. If you have more knowledge about that, I could be incorrect, but I think it would be. There are some myths and misconceptions about organ donation that I wanted to address. One of the things that I have heard people talk about over my lifetime is they're concerned that if they become an organ donor and they're in an accident, they become ill, they're in the hospital, that there's going to be this rush to go ahead and let them die so that their organs can be used for transplants. That is not the case. It's not the case. Saving the life of the donor is the highest priority of the hospital or the medical center, wherever you would be. So it doesn't work that way. I'm sure you can tell me about either conspiracy theories or actual cases where, people have purchased organs. People have kidnapped people to get their organs. I don't know if you've heard of these things. I have. A lot of it's probably conspiracy theory, but not all of it. It has happened in places in the world. So anyway, that just to get that out of the way, if you are sick, you're ill, you've had an accident, you're in the hospital, you're an organ donor, saving your life is going to be the highest priority. Not rushing you to a death so that your organs can be harvested. While I'm talking about that, I've mentioned there are two main criteria to determine a donor's actual death. Brain death is one of the first main criteria. There are several tests involved with determining brain death, and you have to be on a ventilator for sure. I didn't try. I'm not trying to tell you all the details about these things, so I'm not going to mention what tests there are. I looked a lot of them up. It's really too much to talk about in an 8 to 10, 12-minute video, which is kind of where I'm trying to stick around. The second main criteria is circulatory and respiratory death. So irreversible circulatory and respiratory death. Can't be revived in any way. You're basically just, you're dead. And there's a team of people who discuss this at any organ donation center, any transplant center. There's a group of people that get together and discuss this. Obviously, these things often happen very quickly when someone comes in who is on the verge of death or even just died. But there's a group of people that discuss this. There's a process for it. So just be aware that it's a very methodical, deliberate process. When someone who is an organ donor is pronounced dead and their organs are used to help someone else. Another point I would mention is there's actually no age limit to become an organ donor. I didn't know that, back in 2011. To this date, I would think, well, gee, if you've got all these health problems, how can you be an organ donor? Well, there are very few medical limitations. I'm not going to try to list them here, but there are very few medical. So there's no age limit. So even if you're older, even like me, I'll be 71 years old in just a couple of weeks. There's no limit to my being an organ donor and to being able to help people. If not with my organs, then through tissue, other parts of my body. I don't want to, get too descriptive and gross anybody out here, but this is a real thing that we're talking about. So I want to discuss it. There are personal and community benefits provided by the organ donor by becoming an organ donor. Oftentimes, when someone is an organ donor, this can help families who have lost that person, the person who was a donor, cope with the loss. Just knowing that, their loved one, their friend, that person who was an organ donor who passed away was able to help others continue to live. And I know this is true. I'm almost 13 years out from transplant. I have met people, talked with people who, can confirm that is the truth. One other thing I would mention is that most major religions support it. There are a few exceptions. I'm not going to get into details on that. Regardless of that, as an individual, you have to decide for yourself, regardless of whether you are a religious person or not, whatever faith that may be, Christian or otherwise, you have to make that decision. But just know that it's a tremendous blessing to others to be an organ donor. And I hope that by learning something about this through this short video, maybe someone will think about it. Because like I said, when I needed a heart, I was not an organ donor. Just never thought about it. Had someone come to me and taught me about it, I would have certainly said, sure, sign me up. No problem. For me, that would not have been an issue, from a religious or any other standpoint. That's just me. It's very easy to become a donor. In every state in the United States, you can let them know when you're getting a driver's license through the Department of Motor Vehicles that you want to be an organ donor. They will put something on your license to indicate that. Usually it's a heart. I thought about pulling my license out and showing you, but we won't get into that. So through getting your driver's license, whether you're renewing one, or if you just decided, tomorrow, hey, I want to do that, you go to DMV. I think you can probably even do it online now. And you just say, yes, I want to be an organ donor. They'll send you a new one in the mail, or go down to your local DMV and have that done. You can also do it online. Organdonor.gov is one of the major websites where you can do this. Another one is donatelife.net. I'm going to put both of those websites in the notes for this video. So, yeah, I just wanted to tell you a little bit about the whole process of organ donorship. I'm tempted to stop the video and start over, but I'm not going to do that. Just as a side note, one of the things that my lovely bride of nearly 50 years does is she paints rocks. Some of you probably heard of that. People will put, encouraging things, statements, comments on rocks and plant them around in different places for people to find. And that's something that my wife does and has done for a number of years. We are going on a cruise in just 18 days actually from now. And it's in the Caribbean. I think we're stopping on 6 islands, 6 ports of call. And she decided to make some rocks to leave one at each island. And in this case, this is what the rock looks like on the front. It's the Donate Life symbol. And on the back, she has put one of the websites, organdonor.gov. So anyway, kind of a neat little thing she does, and she's going to add that to our trip. At any rate, that's pretty much what I wanted to cover today. I hope you got something informative out of this. I'd love it if I convinced someone to go become an organ donor who just never thought about it, who thought about it, and I might help change their mind. So I appreciate you stopping by my channel today. I keep the videos very short. That was my topic for today. I'd appreciate it if you would like the video and subscribe to my channel. If you've got any questions or comments, please leave them in the comments and I'll respond to them. So again, thank you for stopping by today. And until next time, goodbye.